And now for something completely different. On the 29th day with a video review of the animated gothic horror feature of Extraordinary Tales from 2015. It consists of 5 short stories and poems from the mind of classic gothic author Edgar Allan Poe. It's framed at a graveyard by a moody conversation between Poe, disguised as a raven, and Death, whom he fears and obsesses over. He reminisces about his stories dealing with death, torture, pestilence, and murder. The first story is The Fall of the House of Usher, as narrated by Sir Christopher Lee for his last work before he passed away this year. It's beautiful and also sad that his last work was as a storyteller for a classy retelling of a tragic Edgar Allan Poe story. A man visits his friend in his decaying mansion littered with cracks where his friend and sister have been afflicted with a mysterious malady. The madness and cursed house of Usher is bound to decay and fall as the night progresses. I really liked the animated style and drawing style of this short, setting a great gothic tone complemented with Lee's beautiful narration. The second story is The Telltale Heart, a story about murder and the growing fear of getting caught because the murderer still hears the beating heart of his victim pounding under the floorboards. It's narrated by the late Bela Lugosi from an old radio broadcast. The sound quality is so bad that it was very hard to follow without subtitles. The animation style was in black and white Sin City comic book style, which was in lesser quality than the first story. The third story was my favorite of the bunch, The Facts in the Case of Mr. Voldemar. It's narrated by Julian Sands, dealing with a macabre experiment of hypnotizing a man on his deathbed right before he draws his final breath. It's a way to discover how the passing is experienced as felt by the dying man. One of the two characters is drawn to look exactly like iconic actor Vincent Price. It has a great cel-animated 3D style of a vintage comic book look. The fourth story had the worst look with a CGI animated style which made it look like a video game intro from the 90s, which wasn't exactly pleasing to the eyes. It's The Pit and the Pendulum, narrated by Guillermo del Toro, who did a great Spanish old man rendition talking about his experiences when he was thrown in a pit by the Inquisition and his ordeal with the titular pendulum threatening to cut him in half. The last story looks like an expressionist oil painting, complementing the plague-ridden imagery, making it look like the reds were inked in blood. It's a retelling of Mask of the Red Death, which starts as a decadent party of the rich escaping the horrors of the plague that kills the poor outside its walls. They feast, they drink, they lavish themselves in an orgy until death arrives at their doorstep, making sure that no one escapes its horrible touch of pestilence. Roger Corman, who isn't a stranger with creating movies loosely based on Poe's work, does some voice work for this short. So in conclusion, it's an interesting animated project which I can recommend to anyone who already has an invested interest in the works of Edgar Allan Poe. The renditions are fairly faithful, but the strength of Poe lies foremost in his words as written on the page. The best sections reverberate with the power of Poe's words. Extraordinary Tales is a formidable tribute with its ups and downs. If my review piqued your curiosity, then I'd say give it a look. And to Sir Christopher Lee, thanks for all the years of putting class into the genre by bringing memorable characters to life. Ranging from Dracula to Rasputin the Mad Monk, I give my final salute to thee. See you next time.